A report by the Coalition Observer Group has claimed that an estimate of 626 persons were killed across Nigeria in the 6 months between the start of the election campaign and the commencement of the general and supplementary elections. Now, the group disclosed this as at the release of its final report on the 2019 general elections in Abuja. The group said that the number increased compared to the 106 killed in the 2015 general elections. According to that report, the Northwest region recorded the highest number of deaths, which was 172 killed during elections, while the Northeast followed with 146 fatalities. The report revealed that the South and the North Central had 120 and 111 fatalities, respectively. 63 people were killed in the Southwest, while 14 were killed in the Southeast. The group further revealed that Benue, Borno, Kaduna, Rivers, and Zamfara led the highest casualties during the elections. Joining us to continue this conversation, I still have Obi Ajebo and Daniel Udupe. This time I'll start with you, Daniel. Of course, all through the elections, we were here, tarrying, drinking coffee, giving the numbers and, reading out those reports. And for every day, in fact, on the day of the election that was suspended, I guess, a bomb went off in one of the northern states, in Borno, I guess. So this report, again, is trying to give us a clear picture, I guess, of how terrible or how worse our elections deteriorate every single year. In 2015, it was lesser. In 2016, from 106 or so to 626. Are we supposed to be progressing or retrogressing in this regard?
Well, I'm not sure we are exactly retrogressing. I think it's been a case of ups and downs. If you compare 2011 and 2015, I think things were a little bit better in 2015. We expected them to get better in 2019. Unfortunately, they did not. So different factors, I don't know, but I'm not too sure. It's been a case of steady decline. It's been ups and downs. But definitely what we want is to continue to get better. I think basically it's this result or these figures that we are seeing is a reflection of, what we're doing wrong and, basically what we're doing wrong because the challenges remain the same. Look at the policing, they're still overstretched.
Hence my question. If we really do an analysis of sorts after every election year, should we not be aiming to do better and reducing those numbers instead of having it go up and down? Does that not reflect badly on us as to
Absolutely,
maybe we don't know what we're doing?
It does. It seems we don't learn the necessary lessons. We don't, because if you look at, if you observe the discussions surrounding election, let me not say every 4 years, you realize that we keep on discussing the same issues, and you wonder, look, what is the essence of the INEC? What are the policymakers doing about it? It's as if we just don't learn. The issues are almost. In fact, it is so bad that sometimes, if you do a good job of editing, a discourse on the election, and then you just bring it from, say, 2 elections ago, and you bring it into the last election, it will fit in perfectly. The issues are the same. They come late. Apart from the issue of card readers, that's a new innovation in the last, I think, 2015 election. But the issue about insecurity, security personnel are not enough. They're not equipped. The issues are the same. They're basically the same, and that's what's worrisome. And again, unfortunately, there's little for you and me to do as citizens. We need to. I don't know whether. Basically, because people like you and me, we're kind of enlightened. Okay, maybe we should talk more, with our influence. But then the political power, the authority to really make the change does not exactly lie with us. It has to do with the decision makers and the INEC, basically. Because for you and me, the best we can do is to continue to support them and then maybe in our own little way educate them. But people like you and me who are in the cities, you don't record that much of violence. Yeah, it's still there, but it's not as bad as the interiors. Where me and you, we definitely would not want to go during the time of election anyway. So I think basically, unfortunately, the buck stopped with the leadership of both the electoral body and even the policymakers to look for you. And then one other mistake I think we keep making is that we always wait till the last minute to begin to properly, in civilized climes, even though things have died down a little bit now, we're talking about the tribunal, the preparation for the next election would have already commenced. Though sometimes you need sufficient time to adequately implement the changes that you need to implement to get better. You know, we have another 4 years to prepare for the next election. So basically, I just think that and then our numbers keep increasing. People will not stop giving them. So
that's a cause of nature. How are you supposed to stop that? But let's move on. And Obi, I hear that from this report, there were so many areas where there was violence in states like Benue, in Ebonyi, Imo, Lagos, Kano, of course, River State, and then Akwa Ibom. Now, the intriguing thing is that only a few of the perpetrators of this violence were actually arrested or apprehended by security agencies. Let's talk about security agencies here. We see a lot of them at election, venues, polling centers, armed with batons, because this is what the Constitution allows. Now, there are also the ones who are armed, but they're meters away from the election or the polling centers. Yet, when something like violence breaks out or there's a disturbance, there's hardly any of them in sight. So, what could be the reason why these violences continue to occur? Is it that the security agencies are ill-prepared? Is it that there is no strategy? Or is it an issue of shortage? What exactly could be the reason?
They said when the water pours from the head, everything else pours. It shows the difference between a government that respects the life of the citizens and a government that disrespects the lives of the citizens. Now, let us remember that young chap in Okota that came and took away the ballot box. What happened to him?
He was mobbed.
No, he was mobbed. And then there was almost a reprisal attack until somebody from the people that mobbed him took him to hospital and paid his hospital bill. And then what happened? Oh no, you people should not get involved in the politics of this place. You should do these threats and all those things. Now, if it was like in England, that guy in hospital will be handcuffed to the bed, and straight from there he's going to court, and he will get his comeuppance for what he did. So until the government makes a scapegoat, until the government makes a statement, then everybody will believe it's business as usual. If the government tells the police must arrest this person, parade this person, let everybody know that this is bad, then we will not have it. But if it happens, the guy must have been commended and given some money from.
But why does this continue to thrive? Because we keep saying if. There is a law that we all should follow. There is a blueprint. If you do this, I mean, I'm sure the Electoral Act has a section that refers to electoral violence and what should be the repercussion. It's not that we don't have these laws, and I know that you are learned colleagues.
Okay,
so why is it not triggered? But this is what beats me all the time.
Okay, so if you remember, I said we don't seem to learn. One of the things that I should also point out is the fact that, look, it is one thing to have laws, okay, to address a particular situation, to take care of a particular eventuality and what have you. It is another thing entirely to have the political will to implement the laws. So when those who are in power or those who want to perpetuate themselves in power, are about to do something or the other, because they wield the machinery of states, there is some kind of suspension, So for example, this gentleman walked into the midst of, where people are casting their votes and then picked up and ran. Are there no security guys? Personally, we're supposed to. So the point is, because really, there might be lapses in our laws and what have you, but the issue is it's not so much with our laws. It is the will of those, the political will and the well-meaningness, so to speak, to do the right thing. All right. So when people want to, because it's not so much about laws. If they want to perpetuate themselves in power, they will do what they need to do, and they, next day you wonder how we're not learning. But they know the issues. They know how to perpetuate themselves in power. They know the formula, so to speak, to do these things, to make sure that things are done the way they want to achieve the result they want. Once the time comes again, you'll be wondering, but you're not the ones. you know, I'm not even sure you are in any political party. So you're not, you know, we leave it to them. And then when the time comes, they know the machine, they know how to partner with the
journalist. I can't join the political party.
Oh, well, your colleagues are getting appointments and what have you, and you know. Anyway, so basically my point is, you know, so it makes it look like we're not learning. But the truth is, because we are left it to them, they know the formula. You come up with that they come up with another calculation and mechanism to make sure that they perfect. So the will is not there. The will is just not there.
It leads me to my next question, Obi. This one's for you. We keep saying there is no political will, and I keep asking, whether we put them there or not, they're answerable to us. Where do we come in here? Again, he said something about they know how to, you know, spin things to work for them. They don't use ghosts, they use human beings, they use us. So why have we over the years not received sense, let me use the street lingo, received sense of sorts to not know that we're just going to be used and tossed away like handkerchiefs? And then all we can do is throw rotten tomatoes at them, but we really can't get them to do the right thing. When will we start doing the right thing or not making ourselves available? What are we doing about that as citizens?
When Nigerians have a complete change of mindset, when they realize that money is not everything, because if you're handling criminal cases and you're holding a watching brief, and somebody has alleged rape, and you don't move fast, before you know it, there are already meetings between the people, and they say, okay, let us pay you this thing, let this matter settle. Are you going to force the person that alleged rape? Are you going to, when you're not the one prosecuting? And that pervades all sectors of the country. Now, let us say they now insisted the government took that person to trial. Who would be bold enough to go and testify against the person? Do you understand? Who would? There's a group I joined, they say we have one life to live. It's one life we have to live. So who would do that?
So how do we get things to be done right if we all just hide behind, you know, the mask of, oh, I don't want to be out there, I don't want anybody to come after me, and then we're asking for justice to prevail?
That is why we have the caliber of politicians, because those that want to make the change cannot go through the hurdles of politics.
Do we have to be politicians? Because I keep asking, do we have to be politicians?
We all have to be politicians.
In what sense? In what sense?
Be politically conscious. I keep telling people this.
I can live with that, but when you say we all have to be politicians,
yes,
it means some people who are watching us, you're trying to lump them up in political parties. Do we have to be politicians to get justice or to get the government of the day to do their job?
In a sense, we will have to be politicians. Let me explain what I mean. Okay, so politics is a game of numbers. If you do not join, if you do not belong, if you do not join, you are simply making your votes irrelevant. Because you have to, at the end of the day, it is who has the largest number. This is democracy. That's the way it is.
But that boils down to support. It does not necessarily mean that you must be a member of a political party.
You have to be a member of the political party, because the changes that we are clamoring for will not just start. Because don't forget that the government in power is a product of a political party. If you want to influence things, you cannot, because at the end of the day, they'll tell you that, oh, we have an agenda.
We have several political parties. They all can be in power at the same time.
Exactly. So that is why the starting point, interestingly, one of the mistakes we make as a people is that we always think that it is only during the electioneering period that you can do what we call political participation. That is absolutely wrong. In fact, I think that political participation sometimes is even more effective at a time like this. The intensity has reduced. You can now permit the parties, whether you want to use the instrumentality of the parties to influence or the pressure group. Political participation is about having your voice heard, influencing in a sense.
Okay.
Most of us as Nigerians, we're very docile. Politics, no, we don't want to join parties. There's no way you'll be able to influence things politically if you do not join parties. You just have to join parties.
Final words, we need to wrap things up.
I'm encouraging the proliferation of interest groups.
Really?
Interest groups, NGOs, foundations, civil rights groups. We need more of those so that they can now talk as a body and say we don't want this. Remember when we
have them spread across the country, and some would even say that these people are mostly, bought over by certain political parties. Meanwhile, I've said this many times, in the US, the people who put the government on their toes, the civil society, they literally decide what happens in the country. But ours is the reverse.
I still say that there are some foundations that are still forthright. There's a friend of mine who you might know that has a foundation, Project Alert. Mm-hmm. She's my classmate, and she's making the right noises, and she's doing it. But hers is basically abuses and sexual cases. And today she just announced they got another conviction. Mm-hmm. So that is just on one sphere. I'm setting up one on another sphere. So when we have all this gather up, a rolling stone gathers moss. It all gathers up and it will get somewhere.
All right, thank you very much. Obi Ajebo, legal practitioner, Daniel Odupe. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being our guest this evening. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Well, we'll take a short break and bring you comments on what Nigerians are saying about the newly announced protest by Omoyele Sowore, former presidential candidate of the African Allied Congress, I beg your pardon. They're planning this protest for the 5th of August, 2019. And then when we come back, I'll be giving you my take. It's time for my take. First things first, the APC alleging that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who is also the presidential candidate of the PDP's remarks or his message to Boris Johnson And all of the things he has said lately could amount to felony. Well, I had lawyers in the studio to help me sort through those statements to see if there's anything that could be, attached to a felony, or could be irrational, or a statement that could incite the public, and I was unable to get any. But here's my take. I think the APC should focus more on giving Nigerians good governance, addressing issues such as poverty, hunger, the insecurity that stares us in the face every other day, and try as much as possible to fulfill promises that have been made. Yes, we're not expecting magic to happen, but show us that you're more interested in changing our lot for the best, not even for the better, for the best. Instead of tiny little distractions such as saying, oh, Atiku speaking about or saying, applauding Boris Johnson for allowing a young person of Nigerian descent who is also British in his cabinet could amount to felony. We do not want these distractions, APC and Mr. President. Let us face the duty of governance and do it in the best interest of Nigerians. And moving on to the numbers of people who have died during, before and after the elections in 2019, it just goes to show that we necessarily don't learn from the past and we don't plan for the future. Hence, we seem to be, running around in circles in terms of our elections. And I'm hoping that the INEC is planning already and strategizing so that we don't have, a replay of what happened this year's election. We want to see a change of sorts. INEC, don't let us down. I am Maryann. It's been Plus Politics.